Mercedes purchased the Braun Formula One team and relabeled it as being the Mercedes team. Now, if you look right here, this is what we're going to be talking about today. Sometimes the most trivial, minor, inconsequential aspects of the past suddenly become incredibly big talking points, the points for mythology and legend. So when they rolled out the team, this is how they advertised it. That way back in 1934 at the Eiffel Rennen, the Eiffel race, held at the Nürburgring in June 1934, oh my heaven, they showed up. The cars were only supposed to weigh no more than 750 kilograms. Oh, they were over. So to make them come within the weight limit, the cars, which were supposedly painted white, had to be stripped of the color so they could get down to under the maximum weight limit. Now that is a wonderful story. There it is. It's part of how they did their initial press release. If you go to the Mercedes Museum, and believe me, I encourage you, if you're ever in Stuttgart, go. It is one of the best automotive museums on the face of the earth, as far as I'm concerned. But here it is again, the same story being laid out. So you might begin to get the idea that to Mercedes, this is a very serious part of their heritage. This is a story they take very, very seriously, because this whole idea of the conquering silver arrows before the war and then after the war, when they came back in 1954, 1955, very much a part of their heritage, something they take great pride in. And we're going to look at that little story, this little legend. Now, let me give you some context. Like my co-conspirator in crime, Dr. Young over here, I have an academic background. We are into context. We are into research. We are into how academics ask questions. We do research. We do analysis, and we come up with interpretations. In this case, because we're dealing with artifacts, one of the standard works that I used to assign to my students, the Langhart Winter book about do artifacts have politics? And then we have Bernard Borges came back with do politics have, and we can see that these cars, artifacts, certainly seem to have some political import to Mercedes. This story has been perpetuated for so long. I love the idea that we're looking more and more into culture. So this is the context in which I started looking at this whole thing. We also are very concerned about alternative facts, a term that has been given, I would say, its name in recent years. Now, I mentioned Scott's Law. I made this up to help some of my students understand what we do in certain aspects of particularly cultural history. If you recall the movie The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, at the very end, the character called Maxwell Scott is given this whole story about what happened, the true story about the man who shot Liberty Valance. Well, it turns out that the man who actually shot Liberty Valance was the character played by John Wayne, not the Jimmy Stewart character. So at the end, he says, "This is the West, sir. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend." We love stories. We really love stories and good legends. But there's also other ways of looking at this, what we call corollaries that go along with it. One of the other ways is what I call Blaine's corollary. In the movie Casablanca,